Welcome to another episode. Mikey on mute, your mind's implode. He's coming off mute for you. Feel the vibe, it's something new.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Mikey on Mute. As always, I'm your host, Mikey, coming off mute to talk about my mental health journey, talk to others about theirs, and really open up that conversation. Today, I am very, very excited to have three amazing people on the podcast with me. Collectively, this is Compassion RGV, Rio Grande Valley. How is everyone doing tonight?
We're doing good. Hello, Mikey, viewers.
Excellent. Anyone listening on the podcast, we have Natalia here. We have Alethea. We have MJ. And as always, you know me, so I'm excited. This is the most people I've had on the podcast now, so we're breaking barriers here.
New record.
So, Compassion RGV, you guys are high school students with a project of really enhancing mental health resources in Southern Texas. Is that correct?
Yes, we're high school, and we started this at the start of this year, yes.
Awesome. So very a newer kind of project for everybody, but it sounds like it's been a very successful project, very passionate project. I know your main goals are kind of shifting how mental health is perceived, especially in different communities and everything like that. I was doing some research and saw that you were, doing baked goods at the farmer market and tried to purchase gifts this last Christmas for patients that were in a hospital. Is that right?
Yeah, for a local psychiatric hospital, we got all of their Christmas wish list gifts.
Well, that's incredible. I saw at the time of the article, I think you had just around 300 of your goal of 1,000. Were you able to reach that goal, or how far in did you get?
Yeah, we actually surpassed that. We were able to get 1,250.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, when I read that, it was one of those moments that my heart just went, I can't even in all that stuff. So I was so excited to have you on the podcast. I know we've been chatting through Instagram a little bit and connecting, so I'm glad we finally got a chance to do this sit down. For Compassion RGV, other than the bake sales at Farmer Market, you have journaling workshops, you have, I saw like a pickleball fundraiser coming up. It sounds like you really have a whole bunch. I think pet therapy is even a thing. What are some of the other things, or if you want to expand on what you provide at Compassion RGV, just give us an overview of what brought you to want to start this and what can you offer to the community?
Well, we honestly have like our own personal stuff with wanting to start it. Like MJ over here, like her mom actually like studies psychology, so she inspired her a lot with that. And then me, like the reason like why I have such a big passion for psychology is like I've had like mental health issues with my own, and like I've also been a victim of like having Hispanic parents that don't really see the necessity of getting mental health like resources. So for me, being able to do that for someone else kind of like fulfills me in that sense.
And that's great. I understand. I mean, grabbing from our own experiences and all that stuff is a great way to go, hey, something's really, not right here. And so if something's not right with me, this might be a bigger issue. And so I know that for me, that was tough to understand that I wasn't the only one suffering, that there were other people. So to see this new generation coming up and being a lot more open about it, it really warms my heart, because even at my age, which it sounds like I'm ancient here at 35 or something, but we didn't talk about it a whole lot, and it was one thing I wanted to make sure we break, as far as when I was growing up, it was toxic masculinity, and we didn't cry and we didn't show emotions, and to be a real man you had to do this, and this. Talking to you, it sounds like there was a lot of similar things, at least in the community you grew up in. And I know that we had chit-chatted, something that I'll never be able to experience, but I'd love to hear some more on, is kind of growing up in that Hispanic community, and what's that like? What's their outlook on mental health?
Yeah, well, honestly, what you were saying about like the toxic masculinity thing, yes, that is also definitely a big thing in the Hispanic culture. Like I've had like male friends that deal with mental health issues come to me as well, talking about it. There's like this phrase, is it machismo? Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
machismo.
Could you explain that more? I don't really know what the phrase is, but I know it's like regarding to that, like something uh, like the toxic masculinity, like men
Yeah.
should stand up for themselves and they shouldn't reach out for
It's
help.
like men, like, they shouldn't cry because, like, oh, like, you're
Yeah.
Yeah, so especially like with the Hispanic culture too, like you push through it, like
it's very popular around here. There's a lot of people like that.
but not even that, like it's kind of everyone, honestly. Like especially with my parents, like if you were to ask any of my family, they would not say that mental health is a priority. Like any of my because my dad is Spanish, my mom is Mexican. So with them too, like even with the Spanish culture as well, like mental health is definitely not a priority. So we try to target like all of this, but we definitely do try to target the youth because the adults kind of have that mentality ingrained into them. So it is a little bit difficult to try to like tackle that. So what we're trying to do is also target the youth as well, so we don't end up learning that directly from them. And it kind of is hard to like have to unlearn those thoughts as well.
It is very, very difficult to unlearn a lot of thoughts and patterns and behaviors. Every day, I still do a lot of things that are not aligning with how I want to operate with my value just because it's how I've been raised, it's how I've done everything. And it's a constant battle to unlearn, untwist that ball of yarn, if you will. So it's great to hear that we are starting to have this conversation at a younger age. We can make sure it's less of something that we have to unlearn if we can learn it earlier on. So, MJ, I think I heard that they said your mom studies psychology, or what's the story? I guess, what does she study, and how does that influence Ben growing up? Has it been an open conversation in the household?
Yeah, for me, it's my mom has always been supportive about mental health. She studied it during college, and she actually studied it over there in Mexico. And then she came over here and became a teacher. So she used to teach special ed, and now she's a normal teacher. But she always kind of taught me stuff about psychology growing up. And I have all of her psychology books that she had when she was younger. Yeah, and it's always been like an open topic. So I'm really lucky to have that support from her.
That is really lucky. It's good to hear. I don't remember coming from an experience growing up of having that open conversation with parents and everything. So I love seeing that. One of my past episodes, I talked about some time I spent in partial hospitalization treatment and seeing that the good majority of the other patients that were there were in their young 20s. And so before I left, I said, I'm so proud of you guys for taking care of this, tackling this now, so you're not in my shoes and battling this in your 30s and 40s, 50s, etc. And so I really do love hearing that open conversation. How about for Natalia and Alethea? I'm sorry, Alethea, I can't speak tonight.
Okay.
Was mental health an open conversation in your households, or was it more of a taboo subject where you didn't talk about it?
Honestly, I'm not really gonna lie. I'm gonna be very honest. I don't think I've ever had like a very big mental health conversation with my mom. But recently we did have a conversation about Compassion RGV, and she was really supportive about it. She was very proud about what we're doing and that it's good to help other people who don't have that support in their homes. So I guess I would say that it's
She's still learning as well.
yeah, because she also, I believe that she has a psychology minor. So she's definitely a little educated on that. So I feel like for her, it's just more of like a quiet conversation.
Yeah, it's like so. So it's like a little bit of a taboo.
Yeah, just a little bit
But I think it's cool because like we all come from like
different.
different perspectives. Like our parents have given us different perspectives, but we still share that passion.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. That's great to have different experiences to come together and understand. That was a big thing when I started the podcast. I wanted to talk to people with perspectives that I didn't have, whether that was how I was raised or from a different part of the country. I'm all the way up here in Wisconsin, so I don't get to
Oh,
experience things like Texas does. I did hear that some parts of Texas got snow. I don't know if you guys got snow at all, but
oh no, we don't get snow. The last
yeah,
time we got snow was like 2017.
It's
Yeah.
We have snow like on Monday in some places.
no, they didn't.
Allegedly, we're
Allegedly.
supposed to have snow.
allegedly.
No.
We're like right next to the border. It's like 10 minutes away.
Yeah. It's really hot
That's
here most of the
so
year.
close. Yeah, I can only imagine.
So we're
So
Wisconsin is like snowy.
Yeah, Wisconsin is snowy and cold, especially in the winter. I mean, we have pretty nice summers, but our summers only kind of get to like 70s or 80s. You're not seeing like
Oh my
very high
gosh.
temps. Yeah, so that's our
No,
kind of hot weather.
we get
Mm,
100
is it
degrees,
like
110. Like it's really, really hot over here. Mm-hmm.
I can imagine. My dad lives in Arizona, and he's always
Mm-hmm.
sending me updates from the desert and how hot it is, and I'm like, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Other than kind of the experiences of our own and everything like that, starting Compassion RGV was something that kind of also led to Natalia. Is it you that has the career thought to go into a psychiatrist, or who?
It's for sure.
Okay, and so I guess with Compassion RGV, what's something you're hoping to learn that will help you in your career path forward as you go to college and everything like that?
Well, I'm definitely trying to learn like the direct experiences from people. Like also, I'm learning a lot from myself, but I also because I know everyone else handles mental health issues differently. So we've
Mhm.
honestly all been thinking of doing like a group like conversation for mental health because we help fund psychiatric centers, but we haven't had like direct conversations with people in the valley about their mental health. So we were thinking about doing something like that. And yes, I want to be a psychiatrist, but I would also love to give therapy too as a psychiatrist. So just being able to talk to people and give advice, I think it's like definitely a start. Like this is where I start, you know.
Yeah,
And also when I'm old, like I want to do psychiatry because I want to make like I want to be able to help support, but I want to make that extra money so I can still like provide to like undeserved communities like that have mental health issues. Like I want to still try like I don't want to live in the RGV when I'm older, but I still want to be able to donate directly to the RGV because I know that like it'll take time. It'll take time to improve things, but I want to support the way I can. And I know that MJ also that she's interested in studying psychology as well, just like her mom. Did you want to do research, was it?
Yes, I wanted to do research.
that's
Mm-hmm.
awesome. It's really mental health is one of those fields that we never have enough people in. It seems the wait times to get into being seen by a mental health doctor can be really long and hard to get into, and with not everyone having insurance and everything like that, it gets really really difficult. So I really do love to see more people getting into that field. I was never in the psychology or psychiatric field or anything. I went for business because I'm a boring person, but it really does warm my heart to see more people having that ambition to kind of go into those fields.
Mhm.
And I think your idea of wanting to connect with people is great. Almost if you could look into like a peer to peer group or hosting something. I don't know
Yeah.
if there's like a community center or at the school or something like that. Just finding ways to have those conversations. I think even just what you're doing now, having the bake sales and bringing up those conversations organically and everything like that, the more you talk about it, the more we can make this normalized. So seriously, huge kudos to what you're doing currently, and I look forward to your careers going forward and everything like that. What are some things as we do talk about going forward that we can expect from Compassion RGV in 2025? Do you have some big plans you want to do or a big fundraiser? What's the scope looking like here?
In 2025, well, in 2025, we have been collaborating with more organizations. So I think next month, like I said, we want to try to do the peer-to-peer group, but we're also going to be doing like a mental health workshop where we do like a lot of relieving activities. Um, and also we're honestly just trying to get more features as well too, so we can just like expand our cause because we want we've been on TV a few times, but like stuff like this, a perspective from Wisconsin, like we want people from other places to like kind of recognize the issues that the RGV is facing, or also like in different cultures as well. Because there might be areas like that have like predominantly like other cultures that don't prioritize mental health.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean that's been a huge thing as getting that perspective. So having those conversations, that's huge. What is the pickleball tournament? It seems like a sport that's kind of really picked up fans the last couple years or so of people playing it. I've never played pickleball before, but it sounds great. So what's the fundraiser coming up? Can you give me a little information on that?
Actually, it is in 2 days, so we're currently trying to get ready for that soon. Yeah. um.
So it'll have happened by the time this episode gets out. But yeah, that's
Oh yes.
awesome. I with pickleball, it's like tennis, smaller court, different paddle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So how we try to like promote our events is just like we try to do mental health related events with proceeds going towards something else. And pickleball isn't necessarily mental health related, but we're not doing a competition. We're kind of promoting it as like a de-stressing pickleball day. So we're also inviting people that have never played pickleball before because, I mean, a sport is always a good way to distress. And then we're also going to be there and selling the treats that we usually sell for extra proceeds as well to provide it there also.
Yeah, that's great. And getting people out and moving, it's always a good way to promote your mental health along with your physical health. There's so many studies about getting out and, whether it's the vitamin D from the sun or just different movements and everything. So that's a great way to get people involved. And if you're playing pickleball and you're at this thing, it'll spark different kinds of organic conversations with people. So that's exciting. That's
Mhm.
really cool to hear.
Yeah, well,
With
so
the
many different
Yeah,
types of so many different people coming
no,
because
go ahead.
there's people that just want to de-stress, go try out pickleball. People that support our cause and are simply going to support our cause, but maybe want to try out pickleball. But there's also the people that just want to play some pickleball and they see this competition and they're like, oh, it's supporting mental health, and they look more into it and realize like what it is. Like with the farmers market thing as well. Like people are just coming in to just get like a little sweet treat, but they don't know the story behind the treats that they're buying. So we kind of start like conversations through all of the events that we do. Like
Yeah,
that's the
and
whole
that's
point, to
great.
start that conversation, to take RGV off mute.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And anything you can do in this world to get that organic conversation going, and that's great. So I'm sure that people are coming for the treats and they see, okay, well, what's the story behind here and everything. So I think it's really awesome. When we were connecting before, to kind of pivot a little bit here for a question, I was like, what question do you want me to ask? What do you want to make sure the listeners get to hear? And one of them was, how have you changed your community so far?
Hmm. Well, I think the most direct way we have helped the community is with the donations. So, with the money that we provided to the recent psychiatric center, well, we bought the gifts. We went on and bought the gifts for them. The lady had come and called me, and she told me, she was like, Natalia, like I literally don't really get sleep at night because I'm worrying about these patients. I'm worrying about them. And after the event too, I mean, after providing the gifts, like she sent me a letter of gratitude because she was so grateful that for that. Like it really alleviated a lot of the whole center because they use a lot of their own money to provide those gifts to their patients. And then us, just three high school girls, like we were able to assist them and achieve them with that. Every weekend through selling at the farmers market, that's how we were able to make that money. And then with every organization that we try to help, we look for a nonprofit organization because they're not getting their funds from anywhere else. Like they literally just rely on volunteers. So we try to directly give the money to nonprofit organizations. Like the pickleball competition, it's going to be to behavioral health solutions. Yes, they're a nonprofit organization, and they're starting in like a new positive impact coalition. I don't know, but they're barely starting it up again. So we want to be able to give them those funds so they could start that again. Also with the pet therapy, we didn't just provide a pet therapy. We also received donations from students to that nonprofit animal organization that we got. We got over 200 donations to them too. So I would definitely say that we've helped a lot of the community with what we've done, but we're gonna do even further.
We're gonna do some pretty big things here in the RGV.
Yes.
Love hearing that. That's great. That's really, really awesome. The other question I wanted to I wrote down to ask is, what drives you to continue to do the project? I know we've touched a little bit on wanting to get back to the RGV and to help promote our careers. Are there anything else that really drives you to continue this project? What is the factor that says, okay, I'm going to keep doing this? It's not something I just did at the beginning of the year. I want to keep doing this for the community.
I think it would probably be like the outcome after every event. Like when we get donations, like for the pet therapy, giving them the donations and like
The
seeing their
gratitude,
faces.
yeah, the gratitude that they feel towards us.
Like
Because like
I just feel like it's a really awesome feeling that you get after that. Like it's like you accomplished
it's
something.
a rewarding feeling, like the
Yeah.
work that we put into it, like it created this smiling face.
Yeah, and knowing that it's going to a good cause, and that's like, or that's just the goal.
Because the thing is, we've had people assist us as well. Like we've had donations. We've had like we got a recent sponsor to our donation. I mean to our pickleball competition. Like $100, and like we felt good because we really needed that. So imagine these nonprofit organizations. Like we're just simple high school girls trying to do our project, but like the nonprofit organizations that are genuinely struggling and knowing that we can assist with that. Like imagine how they feel. And oh my God, after us providing the presents to that one place, I remember the director of the place, she gave me, MJ, and Alethea like a big hug and she said, genuinely thank you. And just like hearing that, like we just think all of the work that we put in genuinely did make a difference.
It all pays off in the end.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool to hear that gratitude comes back and knowing that you helped so many different people. It's a rewarding experience. I've had a couple people reach out to me and said, "Hey, I really appreciate that you're doing this podcast. Just even talking about it as a man, it really helps get some kind of message out." And the first time I ever got a message like that, I sat down and just kind of like broke down to my wife, and I'm like, I don't even know what to say to these people. I'm just here talking, telling my story, and I reached somebody. So I understand that gratitude is huge. It's very rewarding.
And I have to be honest, like compassion of holding it sometimes has been a struggle sometimes. Like it genuinely has because it kind of is a lot of things on our shoulders, especially with the wish list thing. That was probably our biggest project. It was a big thing, you know, having 198 presents, having that depended on 3 high school girls. But you know, that's what we got to keep. We have to keep that positive mindset going through, and that's how we're going to be able to achieve it. And then we get the blessings back too. And we really try to have that mindset to like pay it forward, and like you'll receive blessings as well.
Exactly. And not only kudos on getting all the funds raising and those presents out, balancing Compassion RGV with being high school kids. You know, you have school and
College
social life.
applications.
Exactly. You have all of these
Mhm.
things going on, and it's such an important and kind of pressure filled time in your life. So to be able to carve out some of your free time to give back, that speaks volumes. And all three of you are amazing individuals. I just have to say that from my heart.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And
Thank
what you
you.
said about your podcast, like someone being inspired by your podcast, it would be nothing like your podcast. It kind of inspired us too because I don't know if you've seen one of our posts, but we wanted to start our podcast as well called Compassion Conversations. So we're gonna get
Okay.
anonymous. Yeah, we're gonna get anonymous entries from people, like just anonymous, like needing assistance or something, or just telling a story, and then we'll give them advice of our own.
That's wonderful. That's great news. And as soon as it's up, and if it's already up, I'm sorry, I just haven't seen it. But once it's up or whatever, send me a link because I absolutely want to listen and subscribe and anything I can do from my side.
Thank
Sounds
you.
great. We appreciate the support.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm probably annoying to some people on Instagram because I'm constantly sharing out people that have supported me. Like my story all day is filled with different podcasts I'm listening to or posts I saw from somebody else. But I'm just trying to give back to the people that supported me and say, hey, these people have jumped on, they've listened. I want to make sure I can pass out the word. So I'm excited for this. If I can get the word out of Compassion RGV out, I have a lot of people I talk to up here. I've been talking to people from different parts of the country. I want to help you spread that message out there and give back to the RGV. So good things come as we kind of pay it forward, like you said.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
As we start to wrap up here, did any of you three have either a question for me or anything else you want to talk about with Compassion RGV that I missed? Like I said, I know we had a little bit of a template, but we can only cram so much into one conversation. So anything else you guys want to talk about?
Well, how is like the mental health support or community in Wisconsin? Like, how would you like? Because I guess I'd say, is there more like diversity there?
It's not a very diverse state, and with most of the state having, it's very cold, so seasonal depression is very high here with the sun going away a lot. When it's between kind of like November and March, there's not a whole lot of time for the sun to be out, so you see a lot of seasonal affective disorder in the state. A lot of the state is filled with people that were raised kind of like me, where you don't talk about your feelings and you don't express it. So there is a lot of people still living in that bubble of toxic masculinity. You see it kind of with, different parents and everything, I'm sure, in your community. But at the same time, there is a huge support system, as far as there's a mental health organization, NAMI. I'm not sure, have you heard of NAMI, the NAMI?
Mhm.
So they're the National Association of Mental Illness. It's kind of like a national thing. They have a chapter in Wisconsin, and they're always kind of sharing different workshops and trying to get people out. There is a group called Bigger Than the Trail. They're trying to get people out that like to do like running and hiking. That's kind of a national thing. They
I
have a
saw that on
part.
your account. Yeah.
Yeah, so they have one in Wisconsin. They have a little chapter thing. So yeah, they reached out. They wanted me to be kind of a sponsor advocate this year. So I'm excited. I'm not huge into running, but I think I can make a few hikes here and there throughout the year to help out. So
It feels so good when other mental health organizations reach out to you. Like I also wanted to add like we're going to become ambassadors for I think this one brand You Are Enough, and 100% proceeds go towards mental health awareness. So I think that's pretty awesome.
that is amazing. Absolutely. There are so many organizations. It's great out there to see as I scroll through my different apps, all the different companies out there. There's some company I can't remember the name for the life of me. They're not a sponsor at all. But their whole mission is to make comfier clothes for those that are like in inpatient and in the hospitals and everything like that, because the hospital things that are given out are usually like paper gowns and everything like that, and it's not very comfortable. So it's really, really cool to see all the different programs that are coming out there. So I think the more we spread the word, the more we have this conversation, the more your generation makes it a normal thing. We won't have to unlearn, and hopefully one day we'll be talking about, do you remember back in history when we didn't talk about mental health? Like, that's weird, right? So
Yeah.
it's really, really cool. And being able to talk to people and have those sponsors reach out, it just goes to show like this is something I'm doing that's having a positive impact. So I do love to see that.
Yeah, I think
Excellent.
like the change will take a while, but I feel like we've kind of started to see like a bit of the change. Like we've also like recruited some volunteers that didn't even care about mental health in the past, but like after seeing our passion, they're like, this is a big deal. Like they realize the issues behind it.
Baby steps.
Baby steps.
Absolutely. It's all about baby steps and moving forward. One of my favorite phrases is we will never, like, we can't go back to square one. It's impossible. You've already learned something new or learned a new way to process something or handle a situation. You can't go back to square one. And that's really inspiring for me that we're always kind of moving forward.
Of course.
Yes.
Excellent.
Thank you so much for having us here on your podcast.
Yeah.
This was a very
Of course.
Thank you.
This has been a fun conversation. Everyone that's listening on the pod, for all of the socials, it looks like it's Compassion RGV on Instagram, TikTok. Now that we have that back, that went down for a good 12 hours or whatever it was. If you want to donate on Cash App, the hashtag is also Compassion RGV. Watch my stories. I'll be sharing stuff out. And again, I want to thank all three of you for jumping on here and dealing with technical stuff and having this conversation with me. I would absolutely love, to get an update. Let's check in down the road and hopefully have another conversation. I'm always a message away.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you so much for helping us spread our cause.
Yes, thank you for
Yeah.
having us on your podcast.
Of course. Everyone listening, I appreciate you listening to the podcast. Before I try to say something cringeworthy about no cap or something else that's going to get me embarrassed, this is Mikey going back on mute. Thanks, everyone. This episode of Mikey on Mute is brought to you by Little Jerk Society. Little Jerk Society is a clothing company fueled by the raw energy of creative rebellion, celebrating those who march to the beat of their own drum. They care deeply about mental health and believe in a world where everyone can thrive, regardless of their challenges. Use promo code MikeyOnMute to save 15% on your order at littlejerkclothing.com. Again, that's littlejerkclothing.com. And remember, use promo code Mikey on mute, all one word, to save yourself 15%. Go off and make a change.